Hello and welcome back to Kin in Line. I'll make this part 128. We're looking up towards the ceiling at a weird sculpture that I did in the late 70s. While I was at art school, I think in about 78, or 77. Um, so it's quite hard to hold it like this, and I'd like to show you all angles of it. But I've left it up here because it's so vulnerable to being damaged. This thing is held together by, if you zoom in here, you'll see that one thing actually has a gap in it. So the reason I brought this through is to show you that in '03 I did this drawing of the same sculpture. That's the split in the neck. I see these as two figures embracing, basically. My older brother Alistair used to call it a holy balls up for obvious reasons, but that was typical of his sense of humor. So as we wend our way back from there, we've got another of my carvings that is still intact. This was done in the early 80s. I just used to use driftwood found on the Bonza Bay beachfront, really. I think this one works quite well. It broke. This lived in my mom's house, and she had grandchildren that messed around, and ultimately it got broken once. So unfortunately, my brother-in-law, Gus, who's quite a good craftsman with wood, repaired it. So we're just actually going to take another look, a quick amble through this house. And up there is another of my carvings. I'll show these in more detail later. But since I was out wandering around, I thought I'd show you. I really enjoyed exploring how far you could take carvings before they broke. It was like, so these things for me are like symbols of this country almost, because we are in such a vulnerable position. There's no real safety in South Africa. No security, no long-term assurances. I don't think there are anywhere, but I mean, particularly here. So in the course of raising sons, we did visits to the East London Museum, which is famous for its coelacanth. They discovered the first coelacanth, or identified it, and it's in the museum. So there was also a dodo egg, rumored dodo egg in the museum, and then they've got a model of a dodo, and this is it. So of course with sons it was regular trips to the beach. I think that's what where these two are here. Well, that's not a very good drawing. Just a group somewhere. And I can't place this kind of landscape at all. Dog. Lots of foxing. This dog's after those foxes. Check, he smelt the foxing. You can understand that was sketched in about 10 seconds, I guess. I think this would be our two sons, Luke and Doug, heading off with their little belly boards, or whatever you call them, into the surf at Bonza Bay. So they did do a bit of that. I grew up with it. They just did it occasionally. And this is actually my eldest son, Luke, probably pre-teen years. In the East London Museum, I think it was, or might have been at Port Elizabeth's Bay World or Oceanarium. I'm not sure which way up this should go. I think it is. Yeah, so some sort of turtle, I guess. And yeah, this I can recall being in Port Elizabeth. This was actually a living specimen, some sort of reptile, I'm not sure what. And this is the second one I've seen I've done of a weird looking fish. This must have been mounted somewhere in the Port Elizabeth Museum. And this guy is Jacques Fuller, who is a sculptor, and I sketched him when I went to review his exhibition in the Port Elizabeth King George VI Art Gallery, which they have subsequently renamed, politically correct name now. And I used to do a lot of crits at at a gallery in Kyler Street, central Port Elizabeth, called the Kyler Street Gallery. Tosi Theron was the owner, the wife of Professor Theron of UPE, of the University of Port Elizabeth's Architecture Department. So while waiting for the gallery to open, I sketched this chimney on one of the historic houses in that area. It's a shame, but it's been allowed to go to rack and ruin much of central PE, which is among the most historic central city centres in the world, in this country. I mean, it's, and so this guy must have walked past as well. And then a bit of fun. Looks like Luke had a go. And he wrote his name, and my name is Luke. And it's what little boys do, I guess. And so I took it and I did that embellishment to get him back for all his embellishing of my large drawings. And then we went through this process again where I showed them this technique of drawing without picking up your pencil or just barely picking it up. Sorry about these delays. That's the same process. I wouldn't generally do these types of drawings today. I mean, that's part of the learning process, and they're not really satisfactory. This is quite sad to see how the foxing is damaging these drawings. I mean, they've been stuck away in an envelope forever. So they're not seeing any daylight or anything. So it's purely just aging, I guess. One of my interesting faces, and quite a sad-looking son. seeing what crops up here. It's usually something of interest. This is Jean. So here you can see a few, I kept this for the drawing obviously. The two sons. And my name has become Kim Bentley without the second E. Mrs. Wainwright. Wainwright is 2 words. So generally, all the pitfalls of journalism, particularly spelling names incorrectly. Not much to see here. I think all I kept this for is this tiny little drawing. The name there, Gavin Stewart. So he was I think he was at Rhodes in the law department, but he was also the newspaper's lawyer, really. So any serious stories that we thought might land us in trouble had to be passed by him. You know, he was the man they consulted.